So Thomas says, for wealth creation and long-term investment property with the same property price, would you advise a 3-bed, 2-bath house in a survey strata lot, 3 individual villas with 1 shared driveway with no strata fees, approximately $15,000 from the city, or 3-bed, 2-bath house green title, which is Torrens title in other states, no opportunity for subdivision at $35,000 from the city? Does land really matter that much, or location is better in this scenario? How many times do we get asked the question, type versus location, which one wins out?
So common.
What's your thoughts for Thomas?
Oh, I would tell him to talk to John.
All right, well, John's probably thinking that we need to understand everyone's situation, and this is the beauty of Q&A, right? We get to see the surface level question and not the deep dive into someone's financial situation or lifestyle requirements or what they want in the next 100 years. But I think one thing that I'm talking to a lot of clients about at the present is this gap between units and housing prices in a lot of suburbs, in probably more so capital cities. So I'm seeing discrepancies of $1 million plus between house price and unit price. Now that's the median, so it's a starting point at least. So I think that's the first part of it, is to say, well, what can I buy in the suburb that's closer in? Because invariably closer into town is generally more established. It's got more historical data. It's generally a better location than something that's further out. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and you want to be in the thick of it if you can.
If you can, especially if you need to get into the city, which is probably less of a requirement than it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So there's a lot more appeal for living further out of town, which might not be as busy if we don't have to go into the city. If our schools and our family and friends are all out there, then great. But if Thomas is just purely looking at wealth creation and no emotion whatsoever, which it sounds like he is, we're saying, right, are we buying a 3-bed, 2-bath in a strata structure, or are we buying a house on its own title further out of town? Now, $35,000 from the city versus $15,000 from the city is a massive difference, isn't it? $20,000
It is.
when we're talking Melbourne, Brisbane, Sydney. It could be 40 minutes in some traffic, right? The green title, and green title's a WA thing generally, but green title is Torrens title.
I was assuming he was from WA when I saw the green title.
Yes,
yeah,
it's a WA thing, isn't it? So Torrens title is it's your own title exclusively, and you can not do what you want with it, but you don't have to ask anyone else for approval. Whereas the strata, we've done an episode on this, we do need to think about others within that complex. So I'm probably further out of town, generally speaking, but this is an interesting one because there's only 3 in the complex.
and no strata fees.
And no strata fees. I'm actually sitting on the fence with this one. I'd love to get more details in terms of what suburbs they are actually in. I would be looking at, it sounds like it's the same price we're paying for it, right? The $15,000 versus
Yeah.
$35,000, it's dollar for dollar. What suburbs have we got around us? And the $35,000 from the city can be vulnerable to lower socio suburbs. So if I'm buying out there and 4 or 5 suburbs around this particular suburb that I'm looking in are all lower socio, then I hang around with the lame, I end up with a limp type scenario, right? Whereas if I'm adjacent to a blue chip suburb, then I see real upside in that because it's that urban sprawl and I can't afford that blue chip suburb next to me, but I can afford this lower socio next that I want to live in or can live in, and gentrification takes place.
And when we do talk about, would you consider something, as a unit or a strata or a townhouse, you always do talk about scarcity. And if there's only 3 and there's no strata fees, it doesn't sound to me like it's something like a run-of-the-mill block with lots of things in it.
No, absolutely not. So in some ways we're getting type of property okay, location very good. I would be there's a lot of positives to be in that situation closer into town. If you said to me, oh, look, there's a townhouse in a complex of 25, 15K from the city versus house 35 out, I'm probably going the house.
Yeah, great. And I think there's been more and more people that have moved. I've seen more and more townhouses, units than I ever have in the last 12 months. And I feel like it's out of necessity.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's just an affordability thing. I can't afford anything else. And this is why I'm intrigued about this house versus unit price in a particular suburb, because that when we've got $1 million, 1.2 mil difference between house and unit, and the vacancy rates are low and the demand is high, does that 700, 800K unit, is that good buying? We've got to seriously look at that.
Yeah. So what would your advice be for Thomas? What's his first steps?
Well, I think it's a couple of things that I've mentioned there. The vacancy rates, it's looking at historically what the growth has been like in the area. It's looking at the suburbs around it. What are we surrounded by, both the 35 and the 15? The 15 generally is pretty good. It's looking at how do the yields differ? Because invariably the green title, larger block, it will probably come with a lower yield than the unit. So that makes the unit more appealing from a cash flow point of view. Yeah. There's no opportunity for subdivision. So that, again, leaves, we may be able to add value to the property, but not the actual block itself.
Yeah.
So if I'm going 35K out, I would ideally like to subdivide if I had the option to down the track.
Yeah, that's a really good tip.